Hello everyone, welcome back to a nerdy guide to D&D. I hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for tuning back in. I will be your DM this evening. Hi, I'm LJ with the nerdy guide to D&D and welcome to the A to W's of classes. A lot of you may have seen a basic guide to D&D and it can be daunting to choose classes to actually start a character. So this is where I come in today. Whether this is your first time picking a character or a class, or even your a millionth time picking a class and you wanted to know a little bit more information, well, I've got you covered today. Some will be ranked 1 to 5 D20s, but please make sure, like, this is my personal opinion. Everyone's opinion is different and we obviously respect that. So please let us know down below where you think that these classes are ranked. In D&D, we have 15 classes. 13 of these are in the player's handbook and 2 of these are unofficial from Critical Role. Today we'll be covering 7 of these classes, and please stay tuned for part 2 in a few weeks where we talk about the rest of the classes. But for now, enjoy these 7 classes. So the question is, what is classes? Well, classes is in D&D a character's profession or vocation. Each class has a different set of skills, abilities, and even some spells. Let's work from top of the list, starting with Artificer. So the Artificer class, starting with A, is the newest addition to D&D, introduced in the Ebron series of The Last War, supplement of the 5th edition of D&D. Through Tasha's Cauldron, it has now introduced the updated version of the class along with additional subclasses. Artificers are described as master inventors and engineers who also use knowledge of magic to create wondrous objects and devices. Artificers are highly skilled in identifying and creating and repairing items. They can be inspired by mundane objects and can create, construct, and magic automatons through their orders. They have a wide range of abilities that allows them to adapt to their situations and support their allies. Artificers are very versatile and they can actually fill various roles in a group, including supporting, damage dealing, and healing. They can use their abilities to create magic items and construct and to help the party. You can also use magic to help disarm traps and other hazards. They are fun. They are an interesting class to play for players that want to learn a mix of magic and technical capabilities. An Artificer's intelligence should be the main focus when creating this role. I would like to rank the Artificer 3 out of 5 D20s. Next we have Barbarian. The Barbarians are also known as the tanks of the party with their physical combat, and also they're beefy. They are also fierce warriors who can enter a friend state, giving them increased strength and resilience. Barbarians have the highest max hit points and proficiencies with all simple and material weapons, making them formidable fighters. One of their flaws is that they can get up to close and personal when fighting in a battle. If you're fighting something from a distance or something on the fly, you can run into some trouble with this. This is due to their lack of speed, and this can be really messy when being a fighter. One of their flaws is that they can get up to close and personal when fighting in a battle. So if you're fighting something from a distance or something on the fly, you can run into some trouble with this. This is due to their lack of speed, and this can be really messy when being a fighter. They also have abilities that allows them to stay in the fight longer and take less damage than other classes. For example, they have the ability called Race. This allows them to go into a friend state and allows them to deal additional damage resistance. And with this could even be a good role-playing experience, whether they struggle with their rage or even master it. They could even be an angry person or even a yoga master who has learned to master their rage and let it out once in a while. Barbarians are ideal for the players that love to straightforward combat and could be focused on making the most damage quicker. They excel in combat and can actually take a lot of punishment. However, they may not actually have as much versatilities as other classes and may struggle with certain types of enemies or even situations that require fitness or finest of planning. Barbarians can seem very deadly at first, but can actually be on the flip side and be very wholesome, such as examples as Travis Williams' character Grog Stronghold, and he is very wholesome in campaign 1 of Critical Role. I highly recommend watching their campaign. It is actually so funny the way he plays him. Primarily making a barbarian, you have to focus on their strength and constitution. Isn't that obvious? I rate these 1 out of 5 D20s. And next we have Bards. The Bard class expels and supports their allies through the power of magic and magic theatrics. They can help support the group by doing magic and healing and also damage dealing as well. They are a great support class. They're a good character to use if you enjoy role playing and performing. Bard's abilities are closely tied to musical talent. However, bards may not have raw magic or have resilience as much as other classes do. They may struggle in situations where they're unable to use their magic or even their magic effects. A bard's charisma should be the highest when creating this character. And who doesn't like a sing-song once in a while? But bards aren't just musicians, they can be entertainers as well. For example, a dancer, an actor, a storyteller, a singer, a rapper, an artist, a politician who's embroidered speeches, a clown, a comedian, and hey, they even may be the jester of a king in a court. I rate them 2 out of 5 D20s because they're such an easy class and they can be fun to deal with. Next, we have a Cleric. The Cleric class serves divinity and wields divine magic. They are vast characters who actually have a bunch of different roles in the group. They can be support, healing, and damage dealing as well. Clerics have a number of abilities that allows them to support their allies and even turn the tide of the battlefield. They have divine magic which allows them to heal and even protect their allies. They also have access to a large majority of offensive spells. Clerics can channel divine energy to turn undead and destroy evil outsiders, making them a valuable member of the group facing such enemies. Clerics are ideals for players who like the support-orientated role, who want to help use their abilities to help their allies. They're a good choice of character for players that want to have a strong connection with the deity and a sense of purpose. Clerics also will struggle if they lose their sense of divine magic, and it will become less effective if something happens. But there's also the flip side of that. You can have a cleric that loses their sense of divinity. We see this in Vox Machina, and sorry, there is spoilers. Pike loses her connection because she struggles with her inner self rather than with her deity. But yeah, you can have a fallen cleric. The options for a cleric is endless. It just doesn't have to be a god or a deity. Wisdom is one of their highest ability scores when making a cleric. Please keep that in mind because you're gonna need it. I'm gonna rate this a 5 on a 5D scale because sometimes they can be difficult and sometimes they can be easy depending on you as a player and your experience, but definitely recommend. Next, we have the Druid. The Druid class uses the divine power of nature to cast spells, shapeshift into animals, or even elements, or even both. They are the characters in the group that deals with a lot of support, healing, and heavy damage dealing, believe it or not. Druids have a ton of different abilities that allows them to adapt to various situations. They can use their magic to shapeshift into a various array of animals, such as a wolf, like the starting class. This ability is called Wild Shaping. Wild Shape can start off with the land animals up to a specific challenge and rating. At higher levels, you have the ability to unlock more animals that can even give you skills such as flying or swimming. But you can bend the rules by saying that you've seen an animal in a drawing and basically become that animal. But remember, speak to your DM about this. They may have a different say about this. But you can be pretty much anything you put your mind to. When turning into these animals, they all have their own unique abilities, making this a very unique class. They can also use their magic to heal wounds, control the weather, and even communicate with animals like rangers can. Druids are ideal for people that want a flexible and adaptable class, and this could be also a good thing for players to actually use the nature world to have an idea and a better understanding of everything. Magic, which druids actually have some of, they don't have as much access to spells as wizards do. They are still technically a spell-based class, but they may struggle where magic is less effective. Their primary ability when building a druid is mainly focused on wisdom. I would rank this a 4 out of 5 D20. Now, for our fighters. Fighter class mainly specifically works on physical combat. These are warriors that can specialize in fighting styles and technique. And just like a barbarian, they have the highest maximum hit points within the party and proficiencies with simple and material weapons. They also have a number of abilities that help them with their combat skills. Fighters can also be role-played as master technicians and also struggle with their range attack. But this doesn't mean that they cannot wield a bow. They actually can, and also one of their subclasses allows them to have spells. Like a Barbarian, they may struggle with some enemies and certain areas in combat and situations that require finest planning. But these classes can become easily more adept than actually Barbarians can to various situations. For example, the action surge. This allows the fighter to have an additional attack on their turn. The martial arts archetype allows them to choose a speciality such as a champion, which then allows them to deal more damage and allows them to score critical hits more easily. Fighters are one of these classes that if players like straightforward combat and to deal a lot of damage, this is a good one for you. It's just like a Barbarian, but with different ability. With choosing a fighter, you also choose between their strength and their dexterity ability scores. Either or is the highest, and whatever you don't pick is the second highest. I rate the fighter class 3 out of 5 D20. And last but not least is we have the monk class. The monk class is a combination between physical combat and spiritual disciplinary. They're skilled warriors and use high energy to fight. Monks have a number of abilities that allows them to use unarmed combat and even allow themselves to improve their physical and mental capabilities. They use high energy to allow them to use their specialist abilities such as the flurry of blow. This allows them to use 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action. Their speed is absolutely insane, and they can also become immune to poison and diseases. Monks also have the ability to use Step of the Wild, which allows them to disarm or dash and as an action and jump at double speed or double distance. Monks are ideal for players who enjoy more of an agile and acrobatic combat style. Monks are for players who want rely on more physical and discipline and spiritual power. Monk excels at close arm combat but can also quickly close the distance between an enemy or an evading attack. Monks will be able to struggle when they are unable to use their unarmed strikes or anything else related to the monk class. Picking a monk for yourself, you have to put your strength and dexterity as your highest ability scores. A monk's difficulty will depend on their key points. Just remember to keep them in mind and keep track of them when playing as a monk. I would rate this a 3 out of 5 D20s. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you being here. Thank you for watching part 1 of the A to W's of classes. I'm very sorry if I stuttered, the lighting, everything else. This is a scuff video. We love a scuff video. But guys, tune in to next week when Callum talks about the races part 1. Guys, have an amazing rest of your day. I love you all. Remember, it's D&D for me and you. See you in the next one.